www.themilafoundation.org. Again, that's www.themilafoundation.org, because every life matters.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio, a 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. We broadcast on every Thursday at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 from beautiful Conroe, Texas on the FM. You also can find us on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, podcast feeds, everywhere you want to access us, we're there. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at _Ticket Stub and the Ticket Stub podcast. The Ticket Stub has a sponsorship with the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas. You can visit, what's up? You can visit irlonestar.com for information about the show and sponsorships, or you can call us 936-647-3776. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. My name is Connor. I'm one of the hosts of the show, joined as always in studio by Dick. How you doing, bud?
Word up.
Word up. We are Chrisless today.
Yeah,
he's got a lot going on at the theater right now. For those that don't know, Chris is the general manager. Probably the owner. I don't know. Maybe the owner. You think he's a partial owner?
I think he is the head honcho.
He's the big shot. And anyways, they're doing the big comfy recliners project.
Endgame.
Avengers Endgame. And a few
there's
other
a lot
things.
of stuff going on.
Yeah, busy.
Much respect to that guy trying to get it all wrapped up. And
shouts
ready
to
for
our
you
boy
guys.
Chris. Shouts to our boy Chris. He does it for you.
Yeah.
All right. He does it for you, for the listener. And Avengers Endgame is right now, or coming out this weekend, right? Tomorrow, tonight.
Yeah, I think it's actually out in a lot of places already.
Okay.
I've seen reviews. I've seen people talk about it on the internet.
The interwebs.
And the thing's already up on Wikipedia, which I was really impressed with, like the plot and everything.
Oh, good. So if you want to spoil it, you can already spoil the plot for yourself.
See, that's how I always check that about movies, just to see like who's in charge here, because this movie is probably the biggest movie I would say since. Would you say Lord of the Rings? Or no, probably the Star Wars one, the newer Star Wars, when that not The Last Jedi, but the one prior to
Force
that.
Awakens.
The Force Awakens. That movie was like highly anticipated.
True.
So probably since that movie, and I mean they're shooting for $1 billion at least, minimum.
I think if it doesn't go billion, that's a disappointment to them probably. Could this be like a $2 billion movie? Is that I mean, could that be a thing?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's a lot of people going to the movies.
Because I don't think anything's coming out for the next 4 weeks that's like as big. I know Spider-Man's coming out in July, right?
Another Spider-Man?
Yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home's coming out. I want to say. So I think that's the only next Marvel movie that I can think of.
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, we'll do $1 billion right there, easy.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Detective Pikachu in just a minute.
But yeah. You've been gone.
I've been gone, yeah.
How was Aspen?
Aspen, my leather guy, is doing really well.
You're another bondsman.
Yeah, so I got married and then went on a honeymoon to Europe with my wife. And we had a wonderful time. And so I was gone for 2 weeks, I guess. And 1 week
did you pick up any international listeners?
Yes, we did. I was passing out business cards everywhere we went.
Good.
So bonjour to all of our French listeners now. Probably not, actually. I don't want to be a hater, but the show did not come up very many times as I was on my vacation. I mostly was just enjoying myself, but it's good to be back, refreshed, feeling good.
Did you go see a movie while over there? Is it different?
Honestly, I didn't, but on the airplane, I watched like probably 6 movies on my flights. So my rewinds are going to be queued up for a while.
Do you always choose to watch the risque gore movies? So when people are around you going like, what's this guy watching?
No, I try to watch like as sexually explicit as possible. Like I want to find the thing that's going to make the person. No, what I do on airplanes is, and I don't know if you're the same way or how much you fly around, but I like to pick the like junk food movies, if you know what I mean. Like totally stupid, like really not that much value to it. Like for instance, I watched Instant Family with Mark Wahlberg,
Okay.
stuff like that, where like it's lighthearted, it's not gonna like. I don't want to think when I'm on the airplane. I want to sit back and relax. I want the time to move as fast as possible. So I choose a lot of those kind of movies. But I'll talk about Instant Family another week because that's one that needs to get talked about here on the show. But it's good to be back. Good to be back. We're gonna do our group rewind today.
Yeah, very big group rewind.
Yeah, big, huh?
Big.
And then we're gonna also right here. We've got the list of some of the other movies that we've put in for the group rewind. We're going to draw to see what our movie will be for the month of May. So that's exciting as well. So make sure you stick around for that. And we're going to talk about the movie Find Me Guilty. This was our group rewind for this month. Find Me Guilty. What was the year on that one?
2006.
2006, starring most notably Vin Diesel in Find Me Guilty. One thing I need to do right now is I need to look, where does this fall, or have we already talked about this? Where does this fall amongst the Triple X's, the Fast and the Fury, things like that?
Well, looking at 2006, I believe it came. Fast and the Furious was 2001.
Okay.
And then Triple X was after that.
So Pitch Black.
So you're
was
looking
probably
at-
Pitch Black was probably his first that was the one that kind of started to get the momentum rolling for him, right?
So to give you an idea, that same year, 2006, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift was released.
Which he was briefly in.
Yeah, but that's giving you the timeline of the movies.
Yeah. So 2000, just to run down Vin Diesel's life for a minute. 2000, he was in Boiler Room, which I didn't see in 2000. Pitch Black, 2000. That was one of the Chronicles of Riddick movie. Then Fast and Furious in 2001. Triple X in 2002, which is actually, I think, what he left Fast and Furious to go do. He thought this Triple X franchise would be the real winner.
Though.
It did okay. But I mean, if you could pick that or Fast and Furious, I think you'd probably.
Yeah, well, now Fast and Furious is its own.
It's its own Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Then he Chronicles of Riddick in 2004, which was a sequel to Pitch Black. And then The Pacifier, he tried a kids movie, and then Find Me Guilty is here in 2006. And then Tokyo Drift, as you said. And then the Fast and Furious 4.
But that was 3 years
That
later.
was 2009. So not a ton happened in between
Yep.
Find Me Guilty and him returning to the Fast franchise. Find Me Guilty from 2006. We'll talk about that a little later on. That was just a little tease. But before we do that, I want to talk about some movie news.
Yeah.
First off, you doing okay, Dick? Sorry, I didn't even ask. You asked me about me. I didn't ask you about
Well,
you.
we're doing great, man. A lot of good movies these days.
Yeah?
And then I'm
You
excited
been
about
to the theater at
Endgame.
all?
Yeah, I saw Shazam.
Oh, you did see
So
Shazam.
I really enjoyed it, and we reviewed it in the last episode. Clearly, I didn't listen to the last episode.
Clearly, I haven't. Yeah, no, that's totally
So
true.
thank you.
Well, it's been busy. I've been back for like 4 days, and it's been busy. Okay, I'm sorry. I will listen. I will catch
Well,
up.
I mean, you're on an airplane. You think you could listen to a podcast?
I didn't download it. I was international,
You think
man.
you could?
Sorry,
I mean, Chris listens to us while at the movie theater, so he's
'cause
very dedicated.
That's because he's hiding in a closet, avoiding work, probably trying to hear from us because he misses us. I bet. Shazam. What I heard about Shazam was it was like Deadpool light.
Yeah.
Is that about right? PG-13. It was
was
like
good.
a teenage
It was,
boy.
It
like
was good. It didn't slow down, and then there were not a lot of scenes where you're like, all right, I'm tired of this.
Okay, it kind of kept going.
That you wouldn't fast forward through the movie.
All right, funny. Like
Yeah,
funny.
very
fun adult?
enjoyable, very for kids and everything.
Did Holly go with you?
Great, yeah,
She liked it.
yeah.
All
Great
right.
message for families. Like that's
Oh.
why I thought that was really interesting because I think there's a lot of opportunities in these comic book movies that have themes, but then they don't really stick. If that makes sense.
They need like the end of South Park where it's like, hey guys, if we
No,
all just got along, wouldn't
Yeah.
think.
You can be a but, yeah. So that's great. Well, it's just you think with like especially like Endgame, you have all these characters that represent certain things, but now it's just so bloated. You're just
Yeah.
happy to see them on screen and like they can really do whatever. Especially the dialogue. Can you like give me a famous scene in any of these movies that stick with you?
No, it's all just kind of rolls
Like
off
in
the back.
Shazam, there's like 3 quotable things that are hilarious just to Shazam.
Okay.
And like really, like to me, I can always remember. I probably will remember those for a couple years.
I think when the Marvel universe was starting, there was some of that. Like that first Iron, I mean, when some of those early movies were coming out, it was a little bit more memorable scenes. Like I still remember when Iron Man was in the cave in Afghanistan or whatever. Like to me, that's a scene that's gonna stick with me for a long time. But now it's like there's so much. It's so constant,
Well, do you think with movies like the Marvel Universe, when you're writing it, we kind of talked about this in the last episode where, to me, when they wrote Infinity War and Endgame, after knowing their publicity, and they almost took the first thing they wanted to write into it is suspense and the cliffhanger. So they didn't really think about what the dialogue would be. They didn't really care about what this character goes through. It's more of like, we got to do a lot of suspense. We got to do a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that hurts the movie in the long run because they just have so much stuff in it that it's basically fan fiction, and they know that everyone's going to clap 30 times throughout the movie, which is going to happen.
Yeah.
But to me, that kind of ruins the comic book. Like, where do these characters actually develop from? And I mean, if you look at Iron Man, like you said, Iron Man 1, when his friend dies in the cave, to me, that was a pivotal moment where he realized what he must do with his work, with his life, with Iron Man. Like, you could tell he was on a mission. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, but that didn't really, remember Iron Man 3 wasn't really there. Iron Man 2
but then they kind
really
of
wasn't
lost
there.
their way, I think, a little
And
bit.
then,
and the other problem with these big in-game type movies is they have to give everybody a fair screen. Like, these big actors aren't going to take like 3 minutes in this movie.
They're so tired of me in these movies. You know, they're like, how much money am I getting paid? When do you need me? Okay, I'll be there.
Yeah, 2 days. All right, deal.
Deal.
And another thought. Well, let's do this. We're going to do a trailer breakdown of Avengers Endgame, which is
Okay, I can
coming
pull
out.
that up. You want to pull that up?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and pull that up? One question I have: will Stan Lee make an appearance in this? The late Stan Lee. Is there going to be? He died at the end of 2018, right? Like right before Christmas or end of the year. Are they going to do some sort of a CGI Stan Lee thing? What do you think, Dick?
I mean, they're going to do something.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised one episode they're going to have a comic book where he's in it.
Okay.
You know,
like a drawing of
like
him.
a
or something?
drawing, and he's like, and the character reads out what Stan Lee would say,
Yeah.
or something like that. I mean, he's always going to be attached to it in one way or another. So
It's the most distracting part of everyone. So if it doesn't,
I don't know.
happen-
Some of them are pretty enjoyable.
Oh, no, I don't like him at all.
That's right. You just hate.
I'm a hater.
Fun things.
I hate everything
So I'm gonna
fun
pull
and
up.
good.
I'm gonna pull up this trailer real quick.
All right.
And so this is the Endgame, which is releasing I think tonight worldwide.
Yes.
And then it's already been out for Wikipedia.
And just FYI for everybody listening only on podcast form, if you ever watch us on Facebook or YouTube, you can see all this stuff going on alongside.
God, seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave,
The cave.
became Iron Man. Realized I loved you. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
I need a list of everybody who died in the last one because I can't remember.
Half the people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just half, but like which half? Apparently not these guys.
All we can do is our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over.
Who's this voice? Oh, there's a few of them disappearing.
These people die. I keep telling everybody they should move on. Some do, but not us.
Is some of this movie going to be black and white?
Small chance.
I don't know. I have no idea what they're gonna do in this movie.
Well, the trailer's kind of got a lot of black and white.
To everyone who's not in this room, to try.
Maybe that was them showing the past.
Oh,
We will.
Look at that haircut.
yeah, super cool, super trendy.
Whatever it takes.
I think Jeremy Renner's pissed about how like overlooked he's been in this whole thing.
No, I think he's that one actor who's like, I don't want to be in these movies anymore.
Whatever it takes.
One thing I wish they would have done,
They're gonna do whatever it
and
takes.
if I was in charge of the production, I would at least have one Avengers movie in between, because it would really need to see the impact of losing half the Avengers,
Yeah.
and basically who are the villains while for this amount of time.
Yeah, like who's come out of
Who's-
the woodwork or
'cause,
whatever.
I mean, that's an opportunity right there, right?
Oh, is that Captain Marvel?
I like this one.
Okay, so I don't know a ton about this, but Captain Marvel, is she going to save everybody? Is that the
I don't
point?
know. Who cares? Let's go see the movie and have a good time.
Okay, well, we need to. We need to go
So-
see it and have a good time. But you don't believe that these people are dead for good.
No, this movie's gonna have. I think they're gonna do time travel. They have to, or they're gonna somehow do something with the stones that allows them to go into universes, or like the parallel universes, or something stupid like
Rick
that.
and Morty kind of a thing.
It's
You
gonna
ever-
be the thing is, that's the only route I can see them going through, but it's gonna ruin the series
Yeah.
because when you introduce time travel,
Then all
especially
bets are off.
well, yeah, especially having 22 movies prior, and you're like, wait, this stuff existed, and people could do this and that.
Well, no one had the glove, and
So-
Thanos is still alive.
Yeah.
Right? Like they
So
didn't
when they left Infinity War, what we saw was Thanos
snap his fingers. or
snapped his
whatever,
fingers, and he just walked away,
and half the people died.
and half the people died.
But he
and
still
there
has
we
the
go.
glove. He still has the Infinity Stone
Yeah.
glove. So theoretically, if they wanted to use the stones, they'd have to go.
I mean, he's sitting there, it's like, getting food, getting whatever he wants, sitting there snapping. Like, what else do you do with the snap?
I want a blizzard
So-
from Dairy Queen.
Well, what's interesting is the original comic, or not the comic, one of the comic that had the similar story to Endgame, or these things where the Thanos and the glove and everything, was the reason he did it was he wanted to meet Death.
Oh, okay.
And Death, what's really fun is in this comic version was Deadpool was in it, and Death and Deadpool have a relationship because she finds him fascinating because he can't die,
Mhm.
and that's part of the comic where him and Thanos fight.
Oh, okay.
And so it's kind of a neat. To me, that would be really cool. But of course,
yeah, that
this
kind of
isn't-
messed other things up.
the other things up. So
If the glove doesn't quit, you must acquit, right?
Yeah.
Is that Thanos' motto? Yeah, there's a lot of glove related.
but they're going to
humor.
do time travel. They got to. They have to do some type of thing where some things have to change, and the only way to change things is to go back in time.
Yeah, maybe
So-
Superman will fly around the Earth a bunch of times backwards and change the rotation.
Yeah.
That was a plausible explanation in one of those old Superman movies. Yeah, I do agree. I think that you're right also, which is that whatever they do is going to cheapen the rest of the series. Not that it was like some foundation to stand on or anything.
It's not that. It's just more of like, oh, now everything can be done.
Yeah.
And especially if this is supposed to be a rebranding, like this is the bookend. We're going to the next shelf, and the next shelf is we can actually pull all these characters back because how old is Robert Downey Jr.? Is he going to be
He's got to
playing?
be like 50.
Is he going to be playing a version of Iron Man?
No, this
20
has got
years
to be
from
it,
now.
right? This has got to be.
No, I'm saying like now you can do a thing where it's like in a parallel universe. This Iron Man existed, and we need him to be 40 years older.
We need old Iron Man.
Yeah, so like no, really, they could. I mean, and that's fun, but I mean, I think, and especially I had this conversation on another show with folks. Is like you have this comic book world that clearly rebranded itself every 10 years, 15 years. So we have the new X-Men, we have the next gen X-Men, and people liked those.
Mhm.
So are they going to just completely change the game and move on, all new actors the whole time, or are they actually going to be like, oh, we're not doing too good. This one didn't do well. We need to bring Robert Downey back just for a clip.
I think they've got to cut ties at some point and start over, just because, it's just going to get old, and they want to keep the momentum moving forward. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. This one, I still need to see Captain Marvel because I'm sure that she is going to be critical to whatever they do, and I haven't seen her standalone movie yet, so I need to see that one for sure before I see Endgame. So I need to do it quick, I guess, if it comes out tonight, and this weekend will be big. I'm sure it'll do buku dollar. Big props to Chris for getting to have a successful week at the theater. All right, let's move on. Slashfilm.com had an article about Detective Pikachu, mentioned earlier in the show. Early buzz, an adorable video game movie that is super effective for fans and non-fans alike. What the article seems to be saying is that this movie is actually really good. And it's not only good for people who like Pokemon, and it said there'll be several little Easter eggs all throughout. I'm sure there'll be like a million little jokes about Mewtwo or whatever. I don't know. I know like 10 Pokemon, but there'll be a bunch of jokes
I
about
think
that.
a lot of people only know 10 Pokemon. So.
Well, I had a friend who caught them all, but I never did. But then, so there'll be jokes for those who care about Pokemon, and then there'll be plenty for those that don't as well, which I think is probably important, especially because Pokemon is kind of like old now. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe it's popular again, but it's not like everybody knows everything about Pokemon. Pikachu's pretty famous. Super Smash Brothers, he was always my go-to character, him or Kirby. But, does the average person know like all the lore about Pokemon?
Well, one thing that's interesting to me about this movie is it a kids movie or is it not? Because it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be in between.
I think it's meant for our age. I think it's meant for the people our age who grew up on Pokemon and now are in adulthood. It's kind of, like everything else, it's kind of that like nerd culture is cool now. Like, oh, Pokemon used to be nerdy, but now if you like it, it's it's not not nerdy anymore. So I would imagine what's it rated?
It is rated PG.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it is a kids movie then.
And what the thing that I kind of look at it when I looked at the movie, who's the director and who's the writer, and the director is he's been around for a while, but he's also only directed like MediaCore movies. So he did a lot of animation movies. He did Shark Tale, Monsters vs. Aliens, and then he also
Gulliver's Travels.
He did Goosebumps, and so I mean, like to me, that's not really like a slam dunk for
not a
the direction of the
hard-hitting-
movie. But he didn't make horrible movies. And then the writers are a pair, and they wrote a bunch of TV together.
Yeah.
So I find that kind of interesting, and I wonder how this movie's going to turn out. And
See, what's interesting is Ryan Reynolds is the voice of Pikachu, and he's most recently notable for his work as Deadpool, which is like the irreverent, it's like almost a kid's movie, but then it's like rated R. It's the superhero that talks dirty, that's bad and raunchy and all that other kind of stuff. And Ryan Reynolds is known for that fast talking, kind of smooth, suave, funny, kind of a jerk, kind of what. It'll be interesting to see how that plays into Pikachu. When I saw the trailer, his voice coming out of that little yellow monster is kind of weird, but maybe it'll work.
there's a good parody online with Frank from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They put his voice over
Over
the
Pikachu.
Pikachu, and it's pretty clever. But I mean, I don't know. It's one of those movies that comes out in a couple weeks. May 10th, I think. That's when it comes out.
May 10th.
And it's going to be one of those movies that's going to have a lot of buzz talk. I bet the opening weekend isn't going to be as promising, but if it's a good movie, it will keep its steady pace throughout the next couple of weeks until the next kids movie comes out.
Yeah, I think this will be my worry about this one is it's kind of a tweener. Like kids won't see it fully as a kids movie, but then people our age, it's not really geared towards them, so maybe it'll kind of fall somewhere between the cracks. But we'll see. It's interesting. I thought it was a joke when I first saw the trailer for it, like it wasn't going to be real.
Well, it's a great way to introduce people to Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not hardcore. This is the story of Ash, and because I remember that as I played the game. And
Where's
that's what,
Misty at?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so I think it's a smart move by them trying to see, hey, can we get people back into this game?
Yeah.
And then we also have a movie that somewhere in the line, like every 5 minutes, we can make a joke about Pokemon that hardcore people can get.
Yeah,
And
let
then-
all the nerds giggle.
Yeah.
Plus the sales, like you're gonna be seeing plush little Pokemon and Pikachu's, like the stuff you can sell at Walmart or whatever is gonna be off the chain for this.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and then one other thing, YesWeekly.com had an article about the new Hellboy. I just have to imagine that you have some thoughts about this, Dick. I don't know. Are you a Hellboy boy?
I mean, I enjoy the movies,
Okay. Yeah.
but I mean, I think it comes down to what do you want to go see that weekend? And this is one of those movies that they already had this done, and it was done well.
yeah.
So it's kind of weird not to include the same people. And so when you're rebooting it, that's probably you're already fighting an uphill battle because the last two were so neat and creative and whatnot. So this one apparently it didn't do well.
Yeah,
And-
it's not getting great reception here, and some of that I think is, well, first off, I don't know.
well,
I don't know that there was a
this is
huge
gonna sound
outcry
horrible.
for
This is
Hellboy.
sound bad.
Okay, sound bad.
But if you have Mila Djokovic in a movie,
Yes.
you're gonna set a kind of like the fans who are fans of this. They're gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be a B- movie. Like that's just, and I know I'm not saying she's a bad actress. I mean, if anything, she's probably the best person to work for because she's been in all these action movies. She's done,
Yeah.
so she's really good on the set. But then it comes down to these hardcore fans who make up the bulk of the sales. Are gonna be like, oh, great, she's the bad person. Like, can we have done something else? And there's a lot of lore to Hellboy. And I think the older Hellboy, the older movies, not really that much older, but they didn't really have the whole lore
Okay.
of what Hellboy was and but they made it more of an action. Like the storyline wasn't complicated, but in the comics, Hellboy can be really complicated
Yeah.
because the world of the monsters and how it all works. The second one kind of got into that. The Golden Compass Army got into something more like there's actually an underground world and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was never, for whatever reason, these movies never did a lot for me, the Hellboy. Maybe it's just because Ron Perlman was he's such a weird-looking character, the big red guy with the horns that I guess get sawed off. And this one, he seems to have the horns for a while. I don't know if Ron Perlman, I can't remember if he ever did. In the trailer, it's just, it's got Nazis. It's got something to do with, like, King Arthur and stuff, or it seems to, like, there's someone named Merlin and there's someone named, Arthur and all those other kind of characters. So I guess it kind of relates to maybe some modern version of some of that.
Well,
It
the
does have Ian
queen,
McShane
the
in it.
queen, the bad lady
Okay.
gets
The Blood Queen.
the Blood Queen gets what do you call it? Like basically locked in her box by Arthur in them.
Oh, like a million years
So
ago.
that
or whatever?
starts. I bet you that's the beginning of the movie.
I feel like that's been the plot to like 100 different, right? King Arthur sealed.
Well,
you
it's
know,
like every supernatural movie, like The Mummy, and at one point
they were all sealed by Pharaoh. And
Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse. That's how that movie starts.
that movie was lame. That movie was freaking lame.
So, well, I think that's part of the problem with these kind of movies is you either do something completely different, or you try to do. I mean, they tried their best. That's what you can't really argue. They had a great cast. I just wouldn't have cast Mila. I think that sets a bad tone, a bad taste in people's mouths because she's like in 9 Resident Evil movies,
Gosh.
and none of them are like awesome. They're more of
mostly kind of B or B between B and D.
you can tell they try to make this a cult movie.
Yeah.
Try to create it, but people didn't care.
Yeah, not working. All right, let's go to break. When we come back, we are going to be talking about our group rewind for the month of April, Find Me Guilty, starring Vin Diesel. Appreciate you sticking with the show, and we'll be right back on the Ticket Stub.
This is not a drill.
This is Rick, TRC. Every Tuesday on my show, Afternoons with Lone Star from 3 to 7, I play back-to-back classic rock hits. That's right. I like to call it a 2 for Tuesday or a 3 for whatever it is you'd like. Call the request line 936-647-3776 or message me on Facebook, Afternoons with Lone Star, make a music request. That's right, you can do it. Here's what else. Go over to our website, irlonestar.com. Get the app on your phone. It's easy. You'll like it.
The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas.
With 18 locations around the country, the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas bring you the latest in state-of-the-art projection and sound,
Including Fathom Events and Flashback Cinema.
Did you know your local Grand or Amstar Cinema serves a wide variety of adult beverages?
and some even have a full bar.
And moms, they didn't forget about you. They also have a large selection of wine to help you get through those kids' movies.
Visit your local Grand or Amstar Cinema today.
We have the safest food supply in the world. Strict laws and regulations restrict the usage of hormones, antibiotics, and pesticides within our food supply. Production agriculture practices and technologies such as the use of GMOs, which is not any more or less risky than conventional crop production, has allowed American farmers to produce more food on less acres in environmentally sound ways. Find out more online at pathtotheplate.tamu.edu. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make lives better.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyperlocal audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your questions. Get seen on TV, YouTube, and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Support your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. If you missed us last segment, we talked about Avengers Endgame. We also talked about Detective Pikachu, and it might be good for fans and non-fans. And then we talked about the new Hellboy and how we don't really care that much about it. Now we're going to talk about the movie Find Me Guilty from 2006. This is our group rewind.
So let's talk about another movie we don't really care about.
Let's talk about another one we don't care
Wonderful.
about. For those that don't know, every week we do a rewind where each of us talk about the movies that we've seen that week. And then once a month we do a group rewind where we all talk about the same movie. We do have a little bag. I'm holding it right here. We're going to draw at the end of the show for the movie for next month. So we all submitted 12 movies each, and we draw once a month out of them to find. Still, we have not found a movie that I have picked, but I'm not bitter about it. Don't worry. This is Find Me Guilty. Dick, was this your suggestion?
Oh, yeah.
Of course it was. Find Me Guilty. This is from 2006, starring Vin Diesel. Read the plot really quick. In the late 1980s, a low-level gangster named Jackie Denorcio, anyways, defends himself in court in what became the longest criminal trial in American judicial history. So important to know that this is somewhat based on true events. Now, if you're watching with us right now, Dick's got the trailer playing on silent in the background, so you can just kind of get a feel for what the movie is. First thing to notice is Vin Diesel's hair.
Well, I think you just know as Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, period.
Well, I think what's important is you got the plot. It's based off a true story, so you can look up the life of Jackie Denorcio. It's directed by Sidney Lumet, who's a very well-known director in the history of film. He did the original 12 Angry Men in 1957. He did Dog Day Afternoon, the original 1974 Murder on the Orient Express, and movies like that. So this guy, the director, to me, and this is why this movie, this is why I chose this movie to be part of
so many movies,
the drawings.
So many movies that are so good.
So a lot of people who are involved in this movie don't make sense to me. Like, would you ever guess Sidney Lumet working with Vin Diesel as the lead actor?
That must have gotten forced on him, right? Like that must have been the studio.
I don't know. I'm really interested in that because the writer of the movie though has worked and produced a lot of Vin Diesel movies. So I think that's where it kind of worked together. Because I kid you not, he produced Strays with Vin Diesel. This is the writer of the movie. He also he worked with a lot of the video shorts for the Fast and the Furious and stuff like that. Riddick, all those kind of things. So he works with Vin Diesel.
So maybe that's what happened. Maybe the writer vouched for him or something. The one other thing that was interesting about the production of this is that on the very opening credits or whatever, it tells you that most of the dialogue in the courtroom is from actual transcripts, which if I hadn't heard that, I would have thought that this was the most outrageous dialogue in a courtroom ever. And I don't know how much they were cherry picking or anything like that. But Vin Diesel is part of a mob family, I guess, or like one of the five.
He's
families.
like one of the mid. They don't really give you too much of the pyramid except you know who the head guy is.
Yeah, it's not him.
Which funny enough, watching the movie, I thought he was a lawyer.
For a long time.
There was a lot of confusion in the transitions of what's going on in the court case because they give you some dates, like day 100.
Day one, yeah, exactly.
And then they didn't really give you who's the really bad unless they caricature an Italian mob person. Yeah. So they show everyone in the courthouse. There's probably 50 to 100 people in this room, and you could tell there's only like 5 that look stereotypical mob, like they have the gold chain and all that kind of stuff, and then randomly Peter Dinklage is in it.
Yeah,
and
I wonder if he was really a little person attorney in that, or if that was.
I wonder if it had to have been true.
It had to have been true,
or
right?
they knew he's a good actor because he did. There was a lot of scenes written for him in a sense of he's a lawyer. He plays one of the many lawyers of the mob people.
Yeah, kind of befriends Vin Diesel. So Vin Diesel has a lawyer at the beginning of the movie who apparently is greedy and kind of screws him over and only cares about trying to get more money. So Vin decides, well, I already got convicted of another crime for my lawyer before, so I'm just going to go ahead and defend myself. And so there's like 20 mobsters all getting tried as one unit.
A RICO case.
A RICO case. They each have their own lawyer. So there's like you said, there's like 40 people on the defense side.
It was in New York during Rudy Giuliani's time when he was the
when he was
I think he was the AD,
attorney general or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Vin decides to defend himself. One of the things for me, Dick, is that nothing he ever says, in fact, maybe nothing that anyone ever says would lead you to call them not guilty. Like they seem to admit again and again that. I mean, the only thing they try to do is discredit the witnesses the whole time. But Vin's like, I've never denied doing cocaine. Like he said that one, like he's like, hey John, have I ever denied that I did cocaine? And they're like, no, you never have. And it's like, okay, that doesn't seem like the way to go. What point was he ever making in any of the stuff he said?
One thing that I think the one side of the movie failed at was explain to, or in layman's terms is what a RICO is. What's a RICO case? What is it? Because they got him doing trading cocaine for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they try to connect that to where they were trying to use that as leverage in the RICO case, saying, hey, if you work with us in this RICO case, we'll lighten the sentence and stuff like that. And I wish they would have kind of explained, why do we have 50 mobsters in this room?
Yeah.
Because to me, and the whole kind of throughout the movie, everyone's worried about Vin Diesel's character because he's representing himself. He's making a lot of standard lawyer mistakes. So the lawyers are concerned that he's going to mess the case up. And that's kind of the whole plot of the movie is everyone, like, even got threatened to be killed if he does certain things. And that's one thing I didn't really kind of understand. What's a RICO case? Why are they allowing all these people in the room? Because that was kind of the turning point in the movie was all the lawyers met with the judge, and the judge is like, this is what's going to happen if he keeps doing this. We're going to kick him out. We're going to have a separate court for him. Because he keeps interrupting, he keeps saying crazy things, and I just didn't really understand why is it important to have him in there anyway.
Yeah, why didn't they want that?
Yeah, like I didn't really get the strategy, and we're not. This isn't like a heavy lawyer movie, but a lot of it takes place in the courtroom.
Yeah.
So I wish they explained it better.
And it hops around from day to day. All of a sudden it's day 354, and then all of a sudden it's day 418 or whatever.
And I was kind of amazed. He's the only mobster that's not in jail or is in jail. All the rest of the people are not.
Yeah, it's because they caught him for the other thing and tried to flip him, I guess. But the other thing that I loved is the soundtrack to this, because this could have been like a really hard hitting drama, but the whole time it had like this like trumpet
Standard Italian or like 1950s New York. What music is being played during that movie?
Yeah, and so the other thing that was surprising to me about this is it's made in 2006, but it feels like a court procedural from like the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like and some of that may have been Sidney Lumet. Maybe he just doesn't have like a modern day fastball as far as filmmaking goes anymore or anything like that. But it felt like, the movie The Rainmaker with Matt Damon, which is probably, I don't know what year that came out. Maybe this is killing my point. Maybe that was, 2000s also. But it just felt like a movie from the past. Like it could have had Denzel Washington in it or something like that, like in the courtroom. It just was not, it didn't feel 2006 to me. And Vin Diesel, man, he's trying to act at least kind of. But he just doesn't have, he's good at one thing.
Well, that's what
he's good at one thing.
Well, let's take your earlier point where a lot of the dialogue was taken from transcripts of the deal. And I think that was kind of the selling point of having Vin Diesel do it. They're like, hey, let's do this counter argument they had in the courtroom. Let's see if you can add some funny to it, because this guy's over the top.
Yeah.
And like one time at one point he accuses one guy trying to give him fellatio, and it's like he pulls out a sucker. He's like suck on the that kind of thing. And overall it wasn't dialogue that was challenging. And like I said, I was telling Connor off the air, if you see this movie, there's a great scene where you think when you're reading the script, oh, this is when Vin Diesel's character's mother dies, and that kind of he couldn't go to the funeral because he's in jail. And the judge, it was kind of weird that the judge invited him into the quarters.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
Because basically the judge's sitting there and he gets a note and he goes like, we need to see you, Jackie. I need to see you, my whatever you call it. And he tells him his mother dies. And the scene you think is like a real heavy, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But Vin Diesel literally covers his face for like 3/4 of the scene.
That's his acting choice.
And you don't know what I thought he was laughing. I thought I was like, oh, is he going to start laughing because he hated his mom or something? And no, like he just kind of goes, thanks, Judge.
Yeah.
Can I go see her?
Yeah, hardcore acting. One thing that's nice about this movie is Vin Diesel's personal life motto of family really rings true.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
In the Fast and Furious, it's almost a joke at this point how family, I don't have friends, I have family. And in this movie, it's the exact same thing. The whole time he's calling...
Stop with that love stuff,
yeah,
Jackie.
Yeah, he's always like, the whole time he's calling all these people his friends, and they're like, we're not your friends. He's like, but I love you. Stop talking about love. He's like, but you're my brother. I'm not your brother.
And that's another thing that I wish they kind of explained a little bit, because I know this is based off a true story. And they didn't seem to embellish a lot, because in the sense of the gangster point of view or anything, because the only thing they really show is he had a chair in jail because he slept. He liked to sleep. That's the way he slept. He couldn't sleep in a bed.
Yeah.
And they take away his chair, and that was like, you think that to me that's probably a true story. Like I can see that him actually having for medical reasons the chair.
He got real mad about that.
But what was strange to me was when you try to stylize the gangster thing, you think he'd be taken care of. But none of them seemed to really care about Jackie. They said, thanks, Jackie. Like, you're a good guy, Jackie. But if he's still part of the family, you think there would be some kind of communication or an understanding.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he just is so loyal to the point where he's in jail for the rest of his life. And he had no perks besides a chair.
And they took it away.
And
then he tried to kill the guy.
So.
But that's the other funny thing is, like, I love Vin Diesel. I would like to meet him one time. He's all, like... He must be contractually bound to never look not tough. Like he must always, like in every movie I'm in, I will look tough. I never rat. Like that's like he'll never rat on anyone.
There's one thing I wanted to ask you. The opening scene of the movie is you find out later it's his cousin, and he looks sweaty and he's nervous. He's on the telephone, and he says like, "All I have is a 22. Like that's not going to do the job. Like I need something." He's like, "Well, that's why I'm calling you," and then he's like, "Thanks for nothing." Blah blah blah, and like hangs it up. And he shoots Vin Diesel in bed
several times with
a 22.
Once in the hand.
Yeah, like
Ouch.
It was very detailed. So to me, that tells me, maybe that's how it really ended up happening.
It must have been.
I was waiting for the twist in the courtroom basically saying, I shot you because the Nick Calabrese, who's the head mob boss who hates Jackie, like he basically threatened Jackie's life, saying, if you screw this up, I'm going to stab you in the heart and take it out like I've done it before. I was waiting for that moment where you're waiting for either Vin Diesel to get his vindication on that guy, or so, like the audience, us saying, yeah, finally that guy's going to jail because that dude's a real bad dude. But I was like, that's where I thought
a few good men moment about like,
yeah,
I would do it again. I issued the code red.
Well, if anything, it opens up another case just for that guy.
Yeah,
like the lawyers are like, hey, we're gonna. But you see, what I'm talking about,
and I guess that was my point. Like they never did anything. Like there was never like this moment where it's like, oh, now they're innocent. Like I don't know how they got.
I don't know what a RICO case is.
Well, I don't really know either. But the jury, probably none of y'all are gonna watch this movie. The jury finds all the
people. It's free on IMDb, free dive,
and Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Prime Video is how I actually watched it. But at the end, the jury finds the people. They come through and find the people innocent. But how? I guess that's. But like, for what purpose? What evidence did they produce the whole time?
There was a point in the movie where it's like, are you gonna charge them individually or charge them as a group for RICO? And again, we don't know what RICO means because
Uncle Rico.
Yeah, whatever it is. And in the end they were found not guilty. Quarter mile. But again, I thought that opening scene was gonna tie in somewhere. Because
not really. There was the cross-examination that was kind of supposed to be emotional with him.
Well, no, like the whole thing with his cousin, because everyone saying, "Oh, we're gonna get them when we put the cousin on the stand."
Yeah, he was like the smoking gun.
But like, because I thought it was gonna come out, why did he really try to kill his cousin or his other, like, the main character? But all it came out was because I didn't like him. He wasn't giving me any money.
He wouldn't give me more money, and I was a druggie.
And he's like, I didn't give you money because you're a druggie. I was trying to help you,
but I still love you.
I still took care of you.
You're my family.
Yeah, and I was like, wait. So I was really waiting for like that was gonna be a twist of the reason I was trying to kill you is because I was paid for by the head mob boss.
So that would have been better. We've already made this movie better just with that one small point.
But that's not the true story.
Like, yeah, some you could say inspired. Just do this one inspired.
No, I
by
think they were
Schroeder.
trying to stick to it as much as possible.
Yeah, that was the mistake. That's where they went wrong. And then the end, it has you rooting for all these. I'm sure that all these guys were terrible people. Like all these mobsters in real life were probably real. Like that's the other thing is that it paints the prosecutor. It instantly paints him as this like terrible, like he's the bad guy, the prosecutor. Even though all he's trying to do is put 20 mobsters in prison, which I think if you asked any random person on the street, they would be pro.
That one scene where he freaks and basically tells the jury, not tells the jury, but he's talking about the jury.
Yeah,
he's like, "Who are these idiots? Like these people."
She said he was cute.
Yeah,
she said one of the jurors thought Vin Diesel was cute, and so he like. The whole thing is like they all like all the jury likes Vin Diesel because he's funny, even though he doesn't actually offer any like real lawyer stuff or whatever.
No.
And he freaks out, the prosecutor.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's a scene to be acting in. But then again, it's like.
And he's like, I never lost a case. And I'm never going to lose a case.
Well, the thing, too, I loved was Peter Dinklage's character had a lot of moments written for him. You could tell because the way they set up the shots and set up like the next scene. Like there was a scene where literally he's just in an office contemplating. Like that's it. And I'm like, why would you even film that? Like, what's going on here? And he's a little, the typical lawyer has the lights in the shade and he has a little drink and he's just like that. And then what I loved is they had that little stool for him. They pull
they
out
had to
every
wheel it
time.
out every time.
But what was great was I really thought at the end when he was doing his closing, he was gonna be like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah, me too. When he walked up, they were wheeling it out, and I wanted him to be like, no, screw that.
Like I need to talk to these people on my level.
But he didn't. No, he just walked straight back up. See, again, that would have been a better part too. And that's you could have done that. And the whole dude, I understand that there was a guy that they had to wheel a hospital bed in there. They could have cut. This could have been 30 minutes shorter, and it would have been a better movie.
I thought they were gonna explain what the gag was there because you had the main mob boss. We had the main mob boss whisper something to him as he was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So it was either like keep acting, we gotta prolong this thing. But they never went back to that. And I was like, oh, so you're going to show us a little bit more about how bad this guy is or what he's... Because when you think of a mob case, you always think of, like, what happens outside. Like, who's talking to the juries? And what kind of... they always try to turn the jury or something like that. And it never happened. Like, there was a weird scene on a yacht where all the head mob bosses were just playing cards. And they're basically saying Jackie's an idiot. Well, we already kind of knew that. Like... That scene didn't do anything for me. It wasn't like they were contemplating how to get rid of him. It wasn't like they were being wired and that kind of stuff. Nothing. There was a lot of scenes that just didn't make sense to me.
Well, even the one where the prosecutor's like, I need to search his room, and so they come in and beat him up. And they didn't find anything from that though. So what was the purpose of doing all that? just to show that he won't rat on the guards either?
Well, the reason they did that, and I don't know if he said go beat him up. He was like, hey, we want to make Jackie as comfortable as possible because he's the only one in jail right now. And so we got to make him tired. That's why they took his chair away. We got him, they did the strip search, the body searches, and all that kind of stuff. And that's why they did that. And I don't know why they beat him up. That was kind of strange.
Yeah, well, jerks.
Yeah.
No reason. It's
I painted those officers in bad light.
Yeah, really.
Because there's literally a scene where the nurse is like, how is he not going to say anything? And he's like, Jackie,
you know what's
Jackie,
up.
Yeah, Jackie's on the inside. He's good. Right, Jackie? He's like, I fell.
I never rat. Okay, so let's say scale of 1 to 10. What would you do? What would you give this movie?
I would give it a 5.
Yeah,
a solid 5. Like Vin Diesel. The reason I chose it because I wanted to see Vin Diesel in a serious role, directed by a serious director.
Yeah,
not because right now in movies today, if you have Vin Diesel, it's mainly because you're like, oh, let's just give Vin Diesel any movie because it has to be big, has to be loud, but this was like, oh, this is a unique time in Vin Diesel's career where the people who made it and people who are behind it are somewhat serious.
Definitely not an action movie. Definitely not an action movie.
And would you say his acting was bad?
I would say it was not good. I wouldn't say it was bad. It was kind of in between good and bad. I don't know what you'd call that. Okay, I guess. He has some parts. It's hard to not see him as Vin Diesel. He's very Vin Diesel-y all the time. And I don't.
Well, that's one thing too. Is how low he speaks.
Yeah.
I was like, how is the jury hearing him right now?
Yeah. Well, exactly. He's got his gravelly voice, and I don't know. And if he was reading off dialogue if he was reading off true to life dialogue, some of that's not on him. And there were some parts where he got kind of mad and did an okay job. I don't know. He kind of goes from 0 to 60. There's not a lot of in between. He's either kind of like low talker or he's screaming at somebody. Yeah. But I would say 4.5 out of 10. It's a bummer Chris didn't get to watch this one with us and talk about it. I'd be interested to hear.
Amazon Prime, find me guilty.
Yeah, his opinion. If anybody else wants to tweet at us at @_ticketstub, let us know what you thought about the movie. And if you want to win tickets to the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinema, the way you do that is by engaging with us on social media. It'll get your name in the drawing. We do it off air. We contact you via social media as well. So let us know. You can have 2 tickets. We give them away every week to the Grand Theater and the Amstar Cinema. Yeah. Want to make sure that you're a part of that. So please engage the show. Tell a friend about the show.
Can we draw?
Let's keep growing the show. And now we're going to draw for next week's.
Next month. So on the last Thursday of the month. So this will be May 30th. We're going to watch this movie. May 30th, our group rewind, we invite you to watch it, is
Flash. Oh.
What movie?
Flash Gordon.
Oh, wow.
Flash
the
Gordon.
Original.
The original. Okay. Is there more than one?
I don't know.
Even if there's only one, we're just going to start calling it the original. This has got to be from the 80s, right? Flash Gordon.
I'm looking it up right now.
See, this isn't mine either. I've never seen this movie.
Flash Gordon. It is 1980, yeah.
All right. Flash Gordon, 1980. The one thing we failed here is we didn't contemplate like how to actually stream all these movies.
Well, I don't think you have to stream it. I think like you can rent it on Amazon Prime for you can buy it for $9.
Yeah, but who wants to do that? That's
these are the group rewinds. We're having a lot of fun with it.
I know, but for our like when we do the next batch, we need to think about accessibility.
Well, the streaming people change their minds all the time. Disney Plus is coming out, and basically everyone's going under. Netflix is going to close in like 4 months after Disney Plus. We all know this.
Wait, what? What's happening?
Disney Plus. It's coming out like at the end of the year. They're going to destroy everything.
Oh, they're going to take all the movies that are Disney?
Yeah, they're going to be like, you know what, Netflix, you're out of business.
You think Netflix
Hulu,
you're
out of business.
You think Netflix
Amazon Prime, you're out of business.
Wow.
So Flash Gordon, it was made in 1980, a release date, December 5th, 1980. Director is Mike Hodges. And I think the music, again, is by Queen. So Queen did the soundtrack to it. I'm excited about that. And here...
it says, a football player and his friends travel to the planet Mongo and find themselves fighting the tyranny of Ming the Merciless to save Earth. I think this one might get a little bit racist. The 80s were a different time, but I think Ming is maybe a little bit...
when you got Timothy Dalton, there's the Bond connection for Chris.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton.
So you got that. And
this is an all-time one that I have not seen, and this is one that you probably need to see as a movie lover just because of the iconic nature of it. So Flash
exciting.
Gordon, watch it with us. You have until the end of May. This is one that would be fun for everybody to join in on. I'm sure that we're going to have a gold mine of things to talk about when it comes to Flash Gordon. Anyway, so that's our show. Chris, we miss you and we love you. We hope you're able to come join us again next week. For everybody listening out there, please engage us on social media. Let us know that you're there, and you can get entered to win the tickets every week. We'll be back next week with more wonderful things So until then, my name is Connor. For Dick, we're signing off on the Ticket Stub.